domestic violent extremism, or DVE. And DVE is an increasingly complex threat that is growing in the United States.
Domestic violent extremism.
As we battle violent extremism, foreign and domestic,
to meeting the evolving threat of violent extremism.
A rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
Hi again, everyone. It's 5 o'clock in the East. The Biden administration has stressed since day one its priority to confront the growing threat of domestic violent extremism in this country. And late yesterday, it took another big step to do so, as Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced an internal review to root out extremists in the department's ranks. In a memo to DHS staff, the secretary not holding back in his assessment, writing this, quote, domestic violent extremism poses the most lethal and persistent terrorism-related threat to our country today. We will not allow hateful acts or violent extremism to penetrate the fabric of our department and fundamentally compromise our ability to protect the homeland. The New York Times describes the review this way, quote, the announcement on Monday highlights the administration's decision to prioritize combating domestic extremism after decades in which the government at times dismissed it as a minor threat or hesitated to invest additional resources to fight it. It is also a pivot from the approach taken by Donald Trump, who pressured federal agencies to divert resources to target the Antifa movement and left-wing groups, even though law enforcement authorities concluded that far-right and militia violence was a more serious threat. DHS's review follows the Pentagon's 60-day stand-down to address extremism in the military, and it comes as the country is still in a heightened threat environment due to potential violence from extremists motivated by, quote, perceived grievances fueled by false narratives. That threat appearing not to be a worry for Republicans, who have emboldened many with extremist views by continuing to spew the big lie of voter fraud, the lie that incited the angry mob to storm the Capitol on January 6th and laid bare the consequences of ignoring the threats of far-right domestic extremism. The nationwide wave of restrictive voting bills has not slowed. 361 bills have been put forward so far in 47 states. That's despite new polling that shows a majority of voters are not concerned about voter fraud, because there isn't really any. From NBC News' latest poll, people are much more concerned about making sure everyone who wants to vote is able to. And nearly 3/4 of Americans are confident in their state's ability to administer a fair election where votes are counted accurately. The Biden administration showing no tolerance for extremism as the GOP continues pushing false narratives